on it.
Oh man. Did you freeze your ass off at work today, Patrick?
Brother, let me tell you something. My nose is still like running. Like when it's cold, my nose just is like a fountain, and my mustache freezes. It was fucking cold today. It was horrible. And then like right at the end, it got warm. Yeah, or it got sunny. It didn't go.
It just finished snowing here.
But we got all of our plant online, all 21 units, and then they were like, oh yeah, by the way, we're increasing the total amount of electrical load that we need from you. And like it's 85% of our total capacity with no redundancy. So now I think we'll have to add 21 more units or
what? That's a massive scope creep.
It's huge. So everything is fucked. It's all sideways.
Nothing you have to exists. You literally have to double the amount.
To have some redundancy, right? Like to have backup.
Backup for testing though.
It's commissioning. Yeah. Because the city won't allow them to do it on utility because it's too much power draw.
Do they even have enough power to the building to like make the building function currently?
They have the ability from the state or the city or whatever area that we're in. And the building's not going to be done for a couple of years, but the utility doesn't want them to do it because it will strain their utility too much.
Interesting.
Yeah. At least that's my current understanding of it. I don't know. I just show up and swing a hammer,
That doesn't work.
I don't swing a hammer. I open up a laptop and push buttons, but still.
I was going to say, you're as much of an IT person as I am right now.
Yeah. So kind of, but a lot less high level.
I fill out paperwork, dude.
Yeah, we had a bunch of like communication stuff today. It's like a simple. I'm assuming it's CAN. I'm not sure. And then we're assigning like IDs to everything, so it has its priority down the line. 1 through 21. And then there was like a communication fault somewhere, and like it wouldn't set up the whole plant. It was a fun day.
I would assume it's CAN. Why would it be?
Yeah, it's 2 wires. It's just a 2-wire comm cable. So it has to be CAN, I'm assuming. And there's a termination switch, so you can set it to middle of network or end of network. So I'm assuming it's CAN.
I think Serial works the same way. I don't know. Only one of us in this chat's old enough to know what that is.
I know what Serial is. Yeah, I don't think it's Serial though.
Well, as much as I do enjoy discussing the day-to-day, is this what the Paddock Pass is all about?
No.
Yes.
No.
I mean,
so
I just wanted to talk about planning because Kevin has stuff out to the end of March. It's a long time. Rolex 24. I'm probably not even going to watch it.
I mean, none of you
have
written anything in it, but hey, trying to.
If somebody would give me access, I might be able to provide some insight.
Oh, did you not get access? Hold on.
Nah.
All right, hold on.
Oh yeah, I need to find.
This file is currently in spam. That's what my Google thinks about you.
Probably because it's a new
new registered account.
Yeah.
And I assume not too many people are going to watch this one live, fortunately.
It's not shared anywhere unless somebody's going to click into my
YouTube,
personal YouTube.
Well, we can spin up a YouTube channel for this and everything, and make a YouTube or a Facebook page, and then start. All right, Jack, you are MACLEAOD JJ22.
No A in there. Well, there's one A, but it's between the M and the C. I think he threw an extra one in there. MACLEOD.
Oh yeah, I suck. Why can't
on my name?
Come here. Look over there. Look over. I don't want your poop.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, I was gonna say I can send you another request.
There we
Kim,
go.
big feelings.
Hold on, someone's calling me. I'll be right back.
Oh man, we're off to a great start.
Super strong start. Like I said, you said you'll be able to edit this out, right? No, probably
Yeah.
not.
Or something. Or it lives on the internet forever.
There's always that. Great start, Patrick. Spectacular.
Yeah, this is going great.
All right. Well,
So-
let's do.
What is LPP all about? Love PP. What's our goal here? What are we trying to? Yeah, what's our goal? Are we informing the masses about the wondrous world of Time Attack, or are we talking about automotive in general, or are we?
I figure based on the name, the Paddock Pass definitely implies, well, first of all, a great deal of prominence, which we absolutely need to establish and maintain, which isn't a problem. I mean, it's already there. We got it.
Yeah. This is not a classy group of people.
We like to pretend from time to time.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe not. I don't know. Educating the masses, is that informing, including ourselves? We're not all that well informed, but the more we talk about it, the more informed we can all be.
Maybe it's like a conceptual piece, right? Like maybe it's about conversations that would happen in the paddock. So it could really be about anything, you know?
Which we can absolutely circle back to the PP Palace and
Yeah,
the brothel waffle. If we can find some legitimate investors here, this is our ability to go racing every weekend.
We're on Trey's YouTube channel, right? So it's a huge audience. There's got to be somebody out there willing to invest.
There's got to be someone in that 30 to 50 people.
A lot of people.
Absolutely massive.
Right now.
Literally half of the audience is in this area. In the houses that we currently reside in, that's half the audience.
You might be right. I'm more than one of those watches. That's for sure. I'm sure. Yeah, Chelsea's got at least one of them in there too. I sent her the link.
I don't think Ingo watches this, so pretty much whatever I say on here is safe. So
well, she's listening. But
she's right.
Yeah, it's a trap.
Yeah. So I mean, it's about a conversation in the paddock, right? Tire wear, suspension setups, PP palaces, brothel waffles, our love for Dr. Pepper. You know,
just after the track goes cold, there's always the occasional
beer being opened.
Yeah. I heard that crack.
Was it? All right. Sometimes the mic, it's a very tricky balance. Sometimes it'll be a little too sensitive. Well,
this is
shit.
enthralling.
How about talk about the fact that on the itinerary for the event this weekend, it doesn't say anything about HPD or time trials.
Isn't there a section for HPD in the itinerary for the banquet this weekend? Which we are not associated with at all. We don't represent.
Oh, it's just at a banquet that y'all all happen to be.
Yeah, we just all happen to be invited to it. We have no association
No
with
particular acronym that I was referencing.
Yeah. It doesn't start with a W. Trey, are you muted or am I?
I think I was muted.
Okay.
No wonder it was so nice there for a little while.
The only thing that starts with a W is World Wide Web, obviously.
www.dc.com. I'm sure that's a real website.
It probably is. I'm not sure if you would need safe
Is it
search.
DC Comics or is it Washington DC?
It's DC Comics.
Yeah.
Comics. Maybe. This looks sketchy.
Spam. I took you to a spam site.
For sure.
This could go a lot of ways. Jack, at one point we had a big fucking document of things we wanted to talk about, and we got through some of it. And I've never been able to find that document again.
You either deleted it from a Google Drive or we had it buried in Google or Facebook messages somewhere, which is
It's buried.
probably way worse.
Yeah.
It was definitely a Google Sheet.
Ooh, I didn't do Google Sheets. That's you then.
Or Google Docs. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah.
Owned by me. Let's start there. I mean, so there's the general things like I want to talk about is, like what are the conversations that happen in the paddock that actually make a difference with yourself or setup or event flow? Like those things happen all the time and never get followed up on. There's an endless amount of times where we say, this was a great conversation and we need to look into this more. And it never goes anywhere.
Yeah, I feel.
Get it all in the spreadsheet.
Yeah.
It's mostly going to be like Patrick's car's too slow and he needs to spend more money. Jack's car doesn't move. He needs to spend more money.
That whole renewable resource thing. Here we go. I found something good. This might be. Ooh, how the hell should I share this with you guys?
Can you screen share? Yeah.
There's like a percent section.
Yeah. There we go.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, we got a pretty decent.
Yeah, this is what I was looking for.
Excuse me.
Do you own that? I think you own it. You must own it.
Are we actually live and streaming or?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
At least
Oh, that's a good one. Who the hell typed that? Oh, well phrased. I don't think that was me. All right. I can share this with you guys. We got a whole bunch of other. Yeah, this was a while ago.
it should be like 21.
29 based on the last number there. 31 if you want to get technical.
Kevin, the man, the myth, the legend.
No, the year that it was made.
Here. There you go. I just copy pasted it into the pod planning so y'all can look at your leisure.
Beautiful.
There you go. I left it there just for you, babe. Cool. Yeah, if you guys wanted to look at the list, I just copy pasted down.
Are you gonna do any of the? Did you even get an email for that instructor?
Me?
Refreshers? Yeah.
No, I did not.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Oh, is it not gonna let me fucking? Oh, that's super annoying.
It won't let you put it into individual cells.
Well, I was just trying to, enter, go down, return. Where's the fucking return button? All right. Well, there that one goes. Strong start. Not necessarily much of a paddock talk, but we're getting somewhere. Slow. Nowhere fast? No, somewhere slow. We're going somewhere slow.
I like that. Excuse me. So you did not rage quit Subaru yet.
No, I was mostly just pissed off. It started with just being a little inconsiderate. Dude showed up at or he said he was going to be there at 5:30, 5:45. We told him we close at 6. You don't have to push it that far. And then the dude rolls in at 6:05 talking about, hey man, sorry I'm late. I just didn't leave earlier. What the fuck?
I have no excuse.
That's just...
I've got no excuse. I'm sorry.
And then he started talking about a loaner car, and then he left, and then immediately came back in. He said, yo, I'm so sorry. I left a bunch of stuff in my car. I'll be right back. God damn it. I just want to go home.
Andrew's here. Look at those beautiful
Andrew.
pecs.
Why are you responsible for getting him into his car and back? And are you locking up the building?
Well, he had it towed in, which again is part of it. I wasn't too upset. The tow truck still got there before he did. I don't understand. Like I said, it went from just a little bit of what was the word I used first? Not disrespect. It wasn't quite that bad. Inconsideration. It started with just a little bit of that, and then it just turned into a whole lot of disrespect. So I got
escalated from there.
Yeah, then he asked me for a loaner car. I said, yeah, dude, $50 a day.
That's really cheap, actually.
For a rental car, absolutely.
Yeah.
For a wheel that's missing a piece of metal about that big in it, like that. I'm sorry, man. I can't really help you out a whole lot there.
Did he just
What
drive
happened?
over a curb?
Yeah.
Not my project. I know nothing about it. Other reason I wasn't super receptive to going above and beyond.
Why are you doing anything if you're not getting money for it?
He's the service advisor, right?
Customer experience.
He's not getting any money for it. His income is directly tied to billable things.
I do have some stipulations surrounding the overall customer service rating.
Okay,
So.
and you think anybody's going to give your own goddamn service advisor a bad review, not Jack, who helped?
Yeah, but
you
if
out.
the whole department goes bad, then I also get it. Like I said, I have other stipulations beyond what the other advisors do.
Are you paid more than the other advisors?
Yeah, they don't actually
Enough for it to make sense?
Absolutely not.
Okay,
No, that's why I'm considering taking a hit and going to do poor financial decisions on shit boxes.
And what are you drinking?
There's not many shitty cars there.
I am drinking Benchmark Small Batch tonight.
Ooh.
Never had that one.
It is not readily found in Virginia. I had to have a buddy from Kentucky send me this bottle. It's a Buffalo Trace product, so it's kind of it's like $15 or $20 a bottle. So it's like,
I was gonna say that's cheap. I'm looking at it online. It's $20.
Yeah. No, it's
$7.50.
So it's a really easy sip. Like this one would be good for mixing, like if you did mix it with some Pepsi or some Coke. But it's a really easy sipper. So yes, Pepsi. Pepsi is better than Coke. You heard
No,
that
it's
right.
not.
Yes, it
I've
is.
never met anybody in real life that drinks Pepsi. They exist? I didn't know they existed.
exist. They do
Only in
exist.
commercials, and there he is.
My God,
That
man.
all makes sense.
I've always been curious how Pepsi stayed in business.
There is a Pepsi.
I really thought you just picked up a 2-liter Pepsi.
I
for a
just-
second. I was about to lose my fucking mind.
It's like product placement.
Sorry.
You know where that Pepsi factory used to be? Still is, I guess, in Fauquier County off 29.
Oh wow! I haven't been over there in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know what you're
delivered
talking
pizza
about.
there once upon a time, and the awards they give their employees for sales targets or whatever are crushed Coke cans.
Oh, that's funny.
So my sister-in-law has lived in Richmond her whole life, and I guess when she was in elementary school, middle school, I can't remember which one it was, but she tells the story often. One of the field trips they would take was to Philip Morris, and
Oh,
they
wow.
talk about it. Yeah, like, and they talk about like the benefits that working there used to get you, and it was like, I can't remember. Like it was something stupid. It was like 7 or 10 cases of cigarettes a month. That like
Oh.
if you worked for them, you would just get that. So you get
Oh,
like,
yeah.
10 cases of cigarettes per month.
That's quite a benefit.
Yeah.
So
It's
I mean,
funny.
I don't know if that's, I don't know if cigarettes are the benefit or the lung cancer or both. Like, but yeah, it's quite the
bro,
benefit.
you just sell that to Jersey and New York, and you just doubled your salary.
I don't think
It's
they
funny.
do that anymore. I don't
Yeah,
think that's a fringe benefit,
That's a pretty wild elementary school trip.
right?
It's
I mean, this
Virginia,
was-
man.
yeah.
That's a staple cash crop right there.
And
Yeah,
in
the other ones
you
we
know,
can't
late
really go
80s.
to and not be judged for.
Yeah, it was also the late 80s, so
Yeah.
things were a lot different
A
back
little bit
then.
different time.
Yeah.
So I just Googled.
Andrew wouldn't know about this. He was, still like 20 years away from being born at that
No,
point.
he was still being shot into a sock at that point.
Jesus.
So I
Right.
Googled for a map of Pepsi versus Coke. And this is shocking to me. It is 5 years old and it is on Reddit. But
So it's not real.
It's not really-
It was 5 years ago for a very
Yeah.
brief moment.
so it looks like Ukraine and North America are primarily greater interest in Pepsi. And the rest of the world is not the case.
Okay, that must be Canadian.
Ukraine and North America?
I think it's Ukraine. Looks like
Who
Ukraine.
the fuck in North America drinks Pepsi?
What do you mean it looks like Ukraine?
Either
My
is or isn't.
geography
What are you
skills
reading?
are not-
Is this an old, outdated map?
Yeah,
Ukraine
Is it like really? Is it Russian?
Kevin,
Ukraine is not weak.
section.
You said Ukraine is weak.
It looks like Ukraine, but it's really Russia.
Sounds like something Russian.
In a couple days, it'll probably be back to. Oh wait, probably shouldn't
Ooh.
talk about that here.
Yeah, probably not.
That's
Kevin, we're trying to get sponsors here. You're not helping.
yeah, right.
I mean, if
we've not been off to a strong start, Andrew. This,
Yeah,
this is not going well.
This episode's not one to
Think
be
about it
advertised.
this way, Andrew. I make the rest of that statement. Maybe Putin's sponsoring us.
You just
I don't know. It's all
Okay.
possible.
Is
You
it
know where
he's watching.
Kazakhstan? What the fuck?
Okay, but Kevin, you know where we live. You know the people we know. You know where they work. You see where I'm going with this?
Where's this? I don't see where this is going. Hang on.
How many people do you think in WDCR work for a defense contractor of some kind?
Greater than 80%.
No, I think it's greater than 90%.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't disagree with that, but 80% is just an easy target.
Actually, you know what? I'd go 65 would be the Price is Right number.
Oh, it's well above 65%.
Defense.
this is a-
contractor, not just
I think this is a
government
pretty-
contractor. Defense contractor.
I think this is a pretty fair demographic of kind of what our typical crowd is, right? Like you,
So-
and me and Jack.
So this is going to sound terrible. 3/5 work for a defense contractor.
Yeah, exactly. I think this is a fair example.
I'm right. 65.
Love it.
Guys,
Wow,
I
Andrew,
don't-
for once, you're right about something. This never happens.
isn't he usually right about most
Every
things?
fucking other time,
No,
don't
no.
even say it, Patrick.
Don't let that go to his,
I'm pretty
don't
sure
let
he's
it go to
usually
his
right.
head.
Me and Andrew have like a like mind. We're usually right about most things.
You're also the same style of special.
Ooh. What does that mean?
Adam,
Elaborate on that.
Yeah, what are you getting
Right
at?
kind of autism.
They approach things in very similar manner from what I have seen, and are typically apprehensive and resistant to listening to new things while listening during that and then making the change.
Peel back the layers of that onion a little bit more for me.
Yeah,
You can
yeah.
go fuck yourself.
So me being resistant to change or like to changing up how I do something is because I know that I'm right about it.
Yeah,
Right?
that's the definition. The having that concept in your mind is inherently wrong, though.
Is it wrong?
Yes.
It is.
Because I feel
Ooh,
like
that's actually
I'm
a really
usually-
good lead into what we were initially going to talk about today.
Tradition is just peer pressure from dead people.
Yeah. See, I love
is.
that. What were we really going to talk about today? Oh, how to learn.
Learning.
Learning how to learn.
Yeah,
Part of that.
this
Part
is
of that is
literally
your
so. That's your first hurdle about learning: is stop thinking that you're correct or that you have nothing to learn from other people.
Yeah, and that
You
doesn't
can
mean you're
assume
wrong.
that you're correct, but you have
But-
something to learn from everybody else.
historically, I have been correct,
Oh,
No,
and I
give me.
have nothing to learn.
You just have a bad
Patrick.
memory.
But Patrick, if
we
you
need
put-
we need
What's that,
Jed.
Richard? Hang
we
on,
need
let
Jed-
these losers stop talking.
We need Jed on to talk about like people who don't listen. Because he
Jed?
had he had like an experience in driver who would not listen to him.
Oh,
and
was it
share.
Michael who got passed on to Carlos?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
He had a bad
Oh,
So I think that was a twofold problem, personally.
threefold.
Threefold.
Continue.
Well, three people were at fault, but
Mostly the chief
error of
instructor?
communication
Oh,
was a twofold problem. It's different personalities,
Yeah.
and I think he was not able to communicate effectively to find common ground, and ran out of tools in his toolbox. And Carlos has very little sense of self-preservation, and it's just like, fucking send the car to the moon, like we'll be okay.
The other thing that he did was he drove that car. Carlos drove
Yeah.
that car and
Yeah.
showed him, like he wasn't even trying. He just showed him how to drive. He was suddenly much better.
That's such a risky thing to do, though.
Oh yeah.
With that type of student, it's so risky.
Well, that's what I was
One
gonna,
100%.
that's what I was telling Patrick, or I was trying to tell Patrick, is that if you really don't think you have anything to learn about driving specifically, put Paul Darling in the car and record his data and try to tell me that again.
Well,
Yeah.
the thing is, you're tying learning to being better at a single item, right? So you're equating learning in this situation to going faster. You can learn a whole lot from somebody who's a ton slower than you.
Really?
Yes, you can learn a whole lot of what not the fuck to do that you might not have been involved in that situation because you inherently don't do that thing.
You would never try this in any situation in your life, and you say, "Oh my god, that's what happens," and some light bulb goes off from when you were doing something super
You're telling
silly.
me you, Trey, could have never guessed to not slam the brakes in the middle of the corner when the rear of the car is loaded up.
So sure, there's egregious things that car dynamics overpower in my brain, but there are lots of sensations and movements and car feedback that I have never personally experienced in my own driving or my own car that I have experienced in other cars that have taught me a lot of things. You get in a GT500 at Coda and let me know how that teaches you things to do and not to do. I mean,
Seems like
the
it'd be fun.
Camaro itself is a very good thing to kind of talk about that, whereas it has such little intrusion from the systems that manage power delivery and y'all that it's really, really difficult to feel that sensation in the passenger seat and to realize that, like, oh, it makes sense why that car did this thing egregiously with egregious inputs. Like, that's still learning.
I had an Integra student. The car was set up really, really well. Super stiff, really advanced setup for a novice driver. And we got super hairy at turn 1 in Dominion, super high speed, left corner. Back end came around him. And I was yelling at gas, 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 gas. And he came off the brake. He touched the throttle way past when I thought it was okay. And the car hooked and got ready to go. And then he fucking lifted off and looped it again. But it was one of those, like, I never would have done that, but I felt something in the car that I never would have experienced otherwise. The amount of slip and rotation that car had was astonishing. If that dude was a better driver, that thing would have been a weapon. Never.
Well, and taking this a little bit different direction, Trey, because I know you've talked about this in the past before, but you've been in a situation where you've let a driver, you noticed they were doing something at the same spot of the same track every single lap, right? And you let them kind of
exactly that, right? I've been trying to correct an input that was happening continuously at a lower pace that was like, this is going to turn into a problem. And I kept saying, stop doing this, stop doing this, stop doing this, and still doing the same thing. And then at one point I just shut up and said, okay, this is a safe area. It would take an egregious amount of negligence to make this an event. We're going to go off into some grass and there'll be nothing happen. Yeah. And 5 laps later, spun and we're in the grass. Sometimes that's how you have to make people learn.
Yeah. But no contact, no body damage.
No, literally
just a bruised ego.
Yeah.
So what happened there?
So that one, while I like that as a really good example of teaching and learning for different teaching and learning styles, the outcome of that particular one, I still really feel like was the wrong choice on myself. Because that student took so long to get back to where they were at 1 lap beforehand. Yeah. Because of that.
You also have to be really sure that what the end result of that is going to be is not detrimental. That's,
Yeah. I mean, in this situation, we're talking about the biggest area of Jefferson that exists. There is 150 feet on either side of the track of open grass field, and you're doing 40 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Pretty sure you could go off in the wet and not hit anything.
Yeah.
So where the old track joins the new track?
Yeah, coming down the extension as you're making that double apex downhill off Snoopy's nose.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's not the worst thing you can do there is drive straight off the track. As you're at the top, you drive straight off, and then there's a bit of a aggressive transition and groundwork.
Yeah, there is a ditch there somewhere, but
Yeah,
and then eventually you hit the skid pad, right?
Yeah.
That would be going track right. You would mostly be going. You'd end up on the old track if you had no steering angle.
Okay.
So kind of what we've talked about so far is really learning from mistakes is kind of what we've covered. Like learning from doing something wrong, like learning from a spin and stuff like that. What are other ways to learn while you're on track?
A/B testing, different corners.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
Isolating the corner?
So the way I drive in both the sim and in real life is I use aim and the timer specifically to figure out what works and what didn't in a specific corner, and I can see visually what works and what doesn't. Right? Like, oh, this brake marker overslowed, or I blew the apex, and as a result, I lost 0.4 on the exit. Like, it becomes very obvious what the wrong input was. So, it's helpful to narrow down quickly what the correct way to approach the corner is because you watch the timer.
Now,
Not a novice friendly way to do that. Don't.
How much of that have you been able to carry past one corner?
Good question. It works best on tracks I have a lot of laps at.
But the question still stands. How much of that either approach or exit position in trying to chase for time?
I mean, you can look
have you been able to carry the understanding of how that change you made at corner 1 affects the exit of corner 2?
The exit of corner 2.
Yeah.
Well, are you?
Sometimes they're independent and it doesn't matter, right?
Well,
That
yeah,
your
Yeah, I was
exit-
going to be.
I'm thinking
Are
of
you more interested in
main
the
in
exit of corner
particular.
2 or your new V Max from taking that?
coming into
It would
2,
affect
right?
the entry,
Yeah.
right?
No, he's so the question is, how do I go faster through this corner? That is not inherently always speed.
Hmm.
It would be average speed change.
No, I don't feel like he was saying necessarily speed, right? He's using his delta or his lap timer to see, what is the fastest or the quickest way through there, not necessarily the fastest,
but-
right?
What I'm trying to get at is that your overall time delta change in one corner can absolutely wreck corner 2.
Right, like
So
it
how
is
far
one
have
continuous
you been
course.
able to personally use that process of changing one corner at a time, and how does it affect things downstream? And how have you mitigated that change?
I
It's
see
pretty
what you're saying.
obvious which corner affected the lap when I'm looking at it at the timer on the way down to the start-finish line.
I think not even necessarily the lap. Even if there's an immediate the subsequent corner, you take turn 4 into 5-6. If you finally have a fucking ringer of turn 4 and you can see it in the data, and then you look at turn 6 and you're a tenth of a second down, then it becomes pretty darn obvious.
Yeah.
You overcooked 4. That's false data.
The rate of change in the red or green dots is a pretty obvious indicator of how the rest of the lap is going.
And I feel like too, like when you work on singular turns like that, I feel like that translates to a lot of different places because a lot of tracks do have similar, like similar turns in somewhere in the layout, right? Like you're gonna find something at every track that's sort of similar, so you kind of know what already works there. I think picking out a single corner works, or looking at a delta in a single corner works.
So
There's only so many styles of corner, right?
Yeah,
There's
I mean
that.
it's a turn. You're gonna go through it.
But there's such an outlier there that kind of aggravates me. So I have 2 really, really good examples for that. So you have Shenandoah, which it almost doesn't matter what you do in any singular corner to affect your total lap time.
I don't believe
There's such little link between corners that you can be egregious on one and then get away with murder on 2-3. But when you go to like NCM, it is the exact opposite. If you ruin the first corner, the next 5 are absolutely dumpstered.
Well, that's all like super track dependent, right? I think it applies so much at NCM because of that, long runs after those, really critical corners. But like at Shenandoah, if you scrub, 2/10 in this corner and then you kind of maintain or do better in the next couple, you get that time back. It's all about.
Does that mean we're all under driving Shenandoah?
Yes.
Probably. Yeah, I don't know that I entirely agree with that, Trey. Like, at least in the Miata, if I screw up pistol grip and I screw up corkscrew,
You're talking about
I am-
the only two corners that matter on that track.
Yeah,
2 out of
But you-
25.
right. But you just said none of the corners at Shenandoah matter, and I disagree with that.
But
Those
you're,
two matter
you're literally
loose.
talking about the two that lead on to what in a Miata is the biggest straight.
The power section.
Like you're
Yeah.
defaulting to like true like racecraft theory of how do you maximize your reward for risk, and that's not the case everywhere else. Like I think what I'm trying to get at is that there are some times where optimization in like one corner really, really is important, where other places it's not as important.
I feel like
Yeah,
the key to all of this, Andrew is chasing tenths. Like, we're
Yeah.
talking relatively. Thank you, dear.
Look at that.
Unless,
Nice.
unless I'm chasing, unless I'm chasing
Where's
Paul
the rest of
in
ours?
car, and then it's seconds again.
Yeah, and ideally, yes, Andrew. Of course, you would love to see a half a second gain on one of those, but I think at this point on those tracks that you're familiar with, if you are learning individual corners to eke the most out of them, you're chasing tenths,
Yeah, I
quarter
agree with
second.
that statement.
Yeah, which I think that's the only way you're going to do that is looking at it in very, very, very small segments, and then eventually finding the correlation between which one of those fast lines doesn't totally fuck up the next fast line, and
Yeah,
how to blend all of those
5,
together.
6, 7, 8, 9 at Summit, Maine. You can very easily. There's a fast way to do it and a not fast way to do it, and it becomes
Mhm.
very obvious in your timer which is the slow way.
I had
Also, seemingly car dependent. At least everybody yells at me that it's car dependent, but in my experience, it is not.
it's not very car dependent.
There's
I don't think
there's
so,
a
so
fast
maybe
way to do it in every car, and it's more or less be on the throttle with it's distance over time with as much throttle as possible.
So yeah, by the exit of 6, yeah.
Yeah.
Full
Uh,
throttle, yeah.
You would also agree that every one of those is a late apex, gentle turn in, and you're not cutting in early between the transitions.
A late apex.
5 and 6, I would agree with.
6A might not be.
6A, that general consensus, and my data is now starting to reflect this too, is that, yeah, it's turn in early.
Yeah,
Just capitalize on being
All
on
curb.
throttle.
all the curb.
Get on throttle.
I even turn in a little early through 9.
Well, so 9's tough, and I think there's
If you can stay on throttle, why the hell not?
I think there's historical changes with 9. A few years ago, you couldn't.
Yeah, I never drove 9 pre. There was a bump there or something, right?
Yeah, it was bad
Yeah.
for a while.
Yeah. I've never driven it with the bump. I've always driven it post bump.
Patrick, did you drive Summit on bikes?
No, I never drove Summit on motorcycles.
Just
That's right.
VIR?
Likes too, Patrick.
VRR, NC car, CMP, and there's a couple of places in California, Thunderhill.
I've
I
got a,
can't remember. Yeah.
I've got a
You guys
couple
go
of
over
buddies that do
cycle?
bike days at Summit. But they don't do car days.
Did you feel any of your bike experiences helped you in cars at those tracks, Patrick?
Yeah, Trey and I have talked about this a little bit before. I think it helps you understand grip and weight transfer really well. I think it helps you identify limits of grip and know where they are and like understand the feedback that the car is giving you. I think it helps you with that a lot. But I don't think it necessarily comes from riding the motorcycle. I think it comes from the way that they instruct from day one about grip fundamentals and and I know this sounds silly and a lot of people talk about this, but like braking, to the apex and accelerating from the apex and essentially you're the lean angle of the bike and the throttle are connected, via a string, right? So you lean the bike over further, you have less throttle or less brake. It's just you really, they really hammer that in from day one about the fundamentals of grip and grip availability. I think that helps a lot, and I think it translates really well if you start on motorcycles first, or even on like mini moto first, and move to other stuff, right? I think it helps if you start with very low power or very low grip and learn how to drive with more of it, right? I mean, we can all agree with that.
I feel like you have the advantage. It's just overall minimum half as much grip.
Yeah,
so
and
you're able to feel that individually, kind of like Andrew was chasing tenths in corners. The same, you were able to now chase tenths in tires.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember. I haven't read the story recently, but it's an old one when Ferrari brought Rossi in back in like 08, 09. I can't remember what year it was, but they put him in one of their F1 cars, and within like 3 laps, he was already within like a couple tenths of what the F1 drivers were able to do.
Yeah.
And as Jeff Walters will say, like, it all comes down to like, if you get grip, you get it. Like, you just understand it, and it transfers across.
It does. I think the thing that we need to be understanding from day one in HPDE or time attack is like the fundamentals of grip and learning how to load up a tire and take advantage. Work that tire. Push it, load it up, make it do the work for you. Trust the tire.
Do you all think that the elevated risk of motorcycle HPDE leading to instructors stressing that more rather than a car HPDE?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I mean, it's all like, they're pushing that on you so that you don't go immediately hurt yourself, right?
So
it's different styles of learning.
I really would like to do a bike day. Like, I've always wanted to do one. Never had a disposable bike, but
please, God, please don't approach it like
that. I would really like to do this.
I'm about to put a life insurance policy.
If we could get a fleet of TTR 125s or even clone 125 motorcycles and throw like a cheap tire on them and go to an indoor kart track, like a slick track. You want to talk about learning about grip? I mean, that's where you go to learn how to do it.
There's also so many other fundamentals with bikes because half of your weight management, especially on a bike that small, is your body, right? And moving your body positioning to be helpful, not hurtful. And like,
take weight out of a Miata, your body position will matter.
Yeah, but not in the same way, right? Like, I've ridden dirt bikes and street bikes for my entire life, but have never had the opportunity to push something to like the lean angles you see on even just like the supermoto on a kart track.
Yeah.
Like, I want to understand it. I want to try to do it. And I would be very, very curious because I don't know of anybody that I've met that did high level like car driving and then went to do a bike outside of like the same thing Kevin was talking about, the Hamilton Rossi crossover. And you're also talking about somebody who's riding bikes his entire life. Like, I would love to try it. Like, I really do want to try it. It's such a large investment just to even go participate.
And it's a young man's game. Coming off a motorcycle now hurts a lot more than it used to. So,
well, I have maybe the least amount of broken bones in this chat.
0.
Oh yeah, so you're ready to go break them.
Yeah, I probably got you.
So I'm not 0. I have the nose and a finger.
How many fingers? You got 10 of them. Like 1 or all 10?
That
doesn't even count. Put your fucking pinky down. That doesn't count as a broken bone, you pansy.
I will say this, like, after the March event every year now, like my body is still a little sore a couple days later, just because like taking the off season off, like my body's not used to it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't spring. It does. I'm not like Andrew and 25 years old. My body isn't springing back the next day.
Yeah.
Evan, I
It
am not
hurts.
fucking 25 years old at all.
You're
So
close.
Patrick
is-
just found out.
You're
I
far
played-
closer to 25 than I am.
That's for sure.
It's a real thing though, right? Like staying in shape in the off season
Yeah.
is a real thing. And that's another conversation that we can talk about on the next podcast. For
No,
sure.
so I actually think that's a really big conversation because it's also a really difficult thing when you talk about more so your endurance for sitting in a car and doing what you do in a car. And I do think the sim would do that really well with a good feedback wheel. If we could turn that feedback up to Nissan Sentra level, then
It costs
Yeah,
$600, but we could do it.
then we could
It's
make
doable.
a real like training regimen to drive the shit box for 24 hours.
Mhm.
So I was just talking with Jesse today, and I guess Jesse just built a brand new sim rig. I can't remember the manufacturer of the wheel he bought, but what he said was the wheel he bought, it will not put any force on the wheel if he doesn't engage the safety. Like it's got a safety that, like if you get in a wreck on the, it can put enough force feedback into the wheel that like, basically like a motorboat or a jet ski, right? You have the safety that'll cut the engine. He can
Yeah.
basically hit something that will cut the force feedback,
Yeah.
of the force feedback on the wheel.
They call
And
it
it's
His
so
thumb's
yeah,
already broken.
yeah, it's so strong in this wheel's case that if you don't engage it before driving, you'll get no force feedback.
Yeah, it's called an e-stop, and this wheel isn't strong enough to need that, but there are ones from this manufacturer that do.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like that's crazy to me. And I mean,
Because if
I've
it-
seen the videos where like people will turn their wheels up to full force and then get in a wreck. You just see it going like, yeah, the wheel is just whiplashing all over the place.
And the door
Is
frame
it
starts shaking.
preservation? Is it simply just something to preserve the wheel from destroying itself, or the
No,
motor?
Oh, from you breaking your thumbs.
Yeah, and
Okay.
that thing starts swinging around, it becomes almost a flying object, and you can't put your hands anywhere near it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of weird how the force feedback frequencies work in a sim wheel, and if they get out of whack at all, the wheel doesn't know what to do, and it's just suddenly there's a 20 newton meters of torque that decides to oscillate back and forth really quickly.
Yeah, that's not a small amount. Yeah.
What is that equivalent to in freedom units?
I have no idea.
15
I don't
pounds?
think it's going to be very much.
How much do you think it actually... Andrew, you've driven the Sentra.
7 foot-pounds.
Yeah, 0.7 foot-pounds.
Wait, is 1 newton meter.
Oh.
20
One
times-
newton meter?
It's
100.
14.7.
Yeah, 14%.
Which that's an interesting conversion.
Stoic.
Because that's also, it's stoic and atmospheric pressure.
Wait, so 23 newton meters is 20 times 14 then for foot-pounds of torque?
No, 20
0.7.
newton meters is 14.751 foot-pounds of torque.
Well, it turns out that you don't need a whole lot of torque to break a human thumb. So
Yeah.
20.
Like Jeff-
I think 14 foot-pounds of torque is a fair amount of torque when you're
It's
not.
also coming off
I
of
think-
a spindle like this big. That's a
Yeah,
That's a
I-
shit. Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are equating that to like on a torque wrench, right? When you apply like 15 foot-pounds of torque on a torque wrench,
That's
it's
much.
not. You're on a leverage there, right? You have
No, it's at a
mechanical
single
advantage.
point.
Yeah,
It's
it's
measured
at a
at
single point. That's a fair amount of force.
Well, the further highlight Jesse was like, is he was, playing around with it and getting used to it. He's like, I just increased the torque from like 12 newton meters to 14 newton meters. And he's like, going to 14 newton meters, like after driving, my arms were tired. And I was like, It's just 2 Newton meters. Like, how did it make that much of a difference? He was like, I don't know, but it did. Like, yeah, I don't
Wild.
understand science sometimes, but
On the flip side of that, guess how many
Because a
newton,
meter is long.
how much force it takes to break
That's a damn good answer.
To break a femur, quite a
How
bit
much?
more. Probably a factor of 20 at least. 50. 100.
80.
It's 4,000 newtons to break.
Wow.
To break a femur.
Yeah, so 400 Newton meters. Is how
I
Wow.
bet it would be less if you torqued it.
Yeah.
What's the torque spec of a femur?
Yeah, right. That's
Well,
Patrick. I
I'm
think
not
he's
sure you want to Google that. That's going to put you on a list.
10 times diameter of a thumb bone,
Yeah.
which is that's a lot more surface area.
Do you use your torque marker after you torque the or your paint marker after you torque your femur into?
Yeah, you
Make
have
sure
to.
you mark the nuts.
put
and
your-
On
bolts.
femurs, if you're not paint marking your femurs, what are you
If you
doing?
put your finger under something,
I
it's
paint
7
mark
inches.
my arm after I smash your femur with a hammer.
So
Perfect.
the real question is
How much torque
that I have is, Patrick, how many pounds of metal are in your body currently?
Oh, there's a lot, man. There's a lot.
Do you have
It's
like
not
one of
a-
those special cards when you fly that you show the TSA guys?
You know, a lot of people ask that, but I've never set off any like.
I was going to say, I just
detectors.
really like the finger searches.
You have screwed together back parts.
Do I have what?
Screwed together back parts, like used
I
vertebrae.
think just hips and
Oh, okay.
and shoulders and stuff.
Oh,
Oh, back parts. Back parts, they just generally just let it heal. They're like, oh yeah, you broke your back, but just lay in bed for a little while, you'll be okay.
That's what they told Muzafar, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no like, there's nothing you can really do. If it's
Oh,
really
you can
bad,
put it
they
in a
like put you in a like a pressy thing, like a compression thing, but that's about
Yeah.
it.
Basically, don't move ever.
Yeah.
You got an old X-ray handy of like you have screws going from
Oh
your.
man, I have a lot of really good X-rays. I don't know where they are. I will share them though soon. It's pretty gnarly looking.
So like you have screws going from like your pelvis into to hold that together, right? Also femur and shoulder, or
Right. So where your
Manual?
hips and like your spine come together, it's what is it called?
Sacroiliac joint.
Sacroiliac joint, right? So all that kind of hinges in there together, and there's a screw going from like my hip all the way through that spine and then through the other hip and kind of holding it all together because it was all just loose in a bag of meat and broken bones. And they just took a big wood screw. They just took a big wood screw, a deck screw. It looks just like a giant deck screw, and just like ran it through there and said, "Okay,
Sit down for a couple months.
yeah, sit down in a wheelchair for a while."
it's titanium, right?
I
Yeah,
love those, though.
I-
Are these
I
all
think it's-
motorcycle injuries?
Yeah, it's all motorcycle injuries.
Okay, everybody stay the fuck away from motorcycles.
Yeah,
That was on the street too.
yeah, that one was on the street. That was silly, but
That one?
That was
Yeah.
silly.
The shoulders
Jeff
are
has,
from the racetrack, obviously.
Jeff has put a motorcycle down twice.
There are
Yeah,
those
but
who have
he's
and
not
those who are
made of
about to.
metal that I'm aware of.
What's that, Trey?
I don't think he has any metal bits in
I don't think so, but he broke his shoulder in one of them.
Yeah, there we go.
shoulder
Yeah.
or collarbone.
I've unfortunately
Uh,
been stupid
one of
enough
them.
to own a motorcycle, and it's kind of something I regret.
you what?
I've never been stupid enough to want to own a motorcycle. That's not true. To actually, I wanted to own one, but I've never been stupid enough to buy one because I
I
knew
don't know.
I was going to kill
I don't
myself.
know if you would say. I don't know if that's the correct way to describe that. I don't
I
think
would
it's
agree with that.
stupid to own a motorcycle.
It's not.
I think it's.
Is it stupid to drive them stupidly?
Yes.
Well, that's
So
No,
that's
not even.
it-
Not
in
even
my
that.
opinion, that's where motorcycles get the bad rap. Is that it's so easy to get something that makes 150 to 200 horsepower and weighs sub 600 pounds with you
That's
on it.
terrifying.
Like the last
love
bike I
that
had,
one.
I could do felony level speeds in second gear.
Mm-hmm.
Like
In
it was
5 seconds.
and
4.
people ride them like assholes, and then we throw in the caveat of Northern Virginia drivers, and even remove the drivers, we throw in the caveat of I want to go ride nice roads. Well, now we have deer and we have turkeys and we have wildlife, and these are things that even the most alert and dedicated driver can't always be receptive to or deal with. Like there are situations where things just happen.
Wild turkeys are big.
They hurt too.
So I lived in California for a while and did a lot of street riding when I lived there because that's the only vehicle I owned. I had a service truck and a motorcycle. And I didn't know that turkeys, I'm not sure if this is common or not, but they'll often follow each other like in a line. And I was coming through a corner and I hit 5 turkeys in a row, all on the left-hand side of my motorcycle. 5 of them, 5 in a row.
Please tell me it was late November.
It was amazing.
Did
I've
you-
never, yeah.
Did you go back for
Turkeys.
dinner?
Turkeys
you
and
go back for
motorcycles are
dinner?
not great. No, I didn't stop. I kept going.
Oh, wild turkey tastes better.
What part of California were you in?
We lived in the Bay Area, like San Francisco area, and so this took place
Which
in
part of the Bay Area?
Fremont.
Okay. I lived in
And-
Burlingame for a while.
Oh, you lived in Burlingame?
Mm-hmm.
Heck yeah. That's further out of the Bay Area, right? That's towards
Mm.
No, we
is it Burlingame? Yeah, I'm not sure. We only lived there for like a year.
We were
All
there
this took
for.
place.
We were half an hour from the city.
Yeah. All this took place at Alice's restaurant, like towards like Silicon Valley. What is that city called?
Colorado.
Redwood.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Redwood
Near
City,
what?
maybe. Like there's a little section between San Francisco and San Jose that's like all foresty.
So you
Is that
dodged
Muirwoods?
draft during that time as well?
What's that? Was that dodging the draft?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
You signed up willingly.
Yeah, I signed up willingly.
He was already made of metal. It was an easy excuse out.
Yeah.
I got flat feet. I'm good.
I'm solid.
What? We got anything else on learning?
Oh, I don't
On
think we really
learning,
touched on it.
no. We need Patrick to learn how to actually road race.
I think I should learn on actually learning how to drive first, and then go do road racing.
I think you drive pretty darn well, Patrick.
Yeah, but not knowing what I'm doing, I think it could be better if I knew what I was doing.
So that's a
Racing is a good way to do racecraft.
it's another conversation, right? There are definitely people like yourself who driving is more so second nature, and you don't understand the dynamics that you're actually doing regardless of what's happening in the car. And then people who had to learn those skills and can articulate that, and it's the reality. Some people have the ability to understand it without teaching, and others had to learn it. And that's
It's
where you get a big delineation between instructor skill. Is some instructors are not naturally a talented driver. They had to learn all the things.
They're better instructors.
It's kind of like on Talladega. It's kind of like on Talladega Nights when Ricky Bobby has to overcome the fear of after crashing, right? And they put him in the car with the live Kruger. You have to learn how to drive without fear. That's how kind of I always described it. You have to have a lack of self-preservation.
I would actually disagree with that.
It gets to a point where, yeah, that's exactly, you have to trust. If you have any distrust in your car, any hesitation, that's the difference.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm.
I will say, Trey, going back to your point on instructing, I feel like since I started instructing last year, like I've gotten better at feeling the car. Like I think I had a good handle on like what things felt like, but moving to the right seat, it feels a bit different. And I just, working on that over the last year to, really help the student out. I feel like, as I shifted the left seat, like I definitely felt the benefit from that. Like could just feel things a bit better. And I can't really describe it
Elevated your butt
quantitatively, but I feel like there was benefit from that.
You have to understand more with a lot less information.
Yeah.
And so at the start of it, it's terrifying and it's really difficult. And you're mostly reactive versus proactive. And then you get some time in the right seat and you become a lot more proactive because you start understanding the sensations of the inputs that are happening. And it is still valuable track time, even if it is in a day zero car. You also get to understand different car dynamics that, like, I'm sorry, I'm never going to personally own a GT500. It's not a car I would purchase, not a car I can afford.
Just take Brian's for a drive every now and again. See if he'll let you borrow it.
I've never physically seen that car. I'm not sure it exists.
It just exists in Facebook pictures.
I was going to say,
I've never seen it in a Facebook picture. Is it on his Facebook?
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah. What were you going to say, Andrew?
I was just going to. I was agreeing with you that it's on his profile.
Oh, okay.
It's got a back half in it? Interesting. Never noticed that. I talked to him today.
I talked to him yesterday.
Kevin, you coming to the banquet?
I am not. Field hockey weekend.
Jack's coming.
I may make an appearance. I told you I got a busy weekend. I'd like to be there. I'd like to show face, but yeah, I could not commit to the whole dinner and everything else.
Wear your Hawaiian shirt.
Ooh, I like that idea. Definitely make an appearance. It's seasonal.
Patrick's going to be there. Inca's going to be there.
Oh, I miss those guys.
Guys,
my
are you
cat.
guys
Bringing my
going
cat.
Did you get a hotel down
Yeah,
at Dominion?
not true, but the
Yeah, not true, but across the street.
Okay.
So it'll be interesting.
It'll be fine. Is it
Not
the
qual-
Quality
not
Inn?
the quality.
No,
Okay, good.
I forget what it was. Not the quality.
Yeah, quality's a bit sketch. I stayed there once
quality.
for a Dominion event, and it was definitely a bit sketch.
It doesn't define the level of quality. It's
No,
it's
it
just
does not.
there.
No, it does not.
Yeah,
It'll be a
quality
good time.
spelled with a K.
Yeah, I'm
gonna-
sad I can't.
I'm
sad I
gonna
can't
bring the fire pit. Are you guys taking?
It's
the
gonna be
truck?
pretty cold.
Yeah, it's fine.
Is it
We
not
got
gonna be
fire
Fire's
pit.
pretty hot.
Like 8 degrees outside on Saturday night? Or is that Monday?
It's supposed to snow.
think
It's
we
supposed to
gotta
snow,
go.
isn't it?
We're going to be in the classroom where it's warm.
Yeah,
I hope
Oh,
it
Is
has
the,
a
heat,
good-
is the heat on in the classroom? Or is Trey
it'll
gonna have
be
to turn
turned
it on
on.
when he gets
I'm gonna
there?
go down early. Patrick, can you grab some straps from work?
Yeah, I can grab straps. Yeah.
I'll look through all my shit when I get home tomorrow.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'll grab your straps.
And I definitely can't get the RV to the trailer currently, so
I
I'll
can-
call
I
you
can
tomorrow.
pull it
We'll
out.
make a plan.
Hey guys, I gotta drop, so I'm gonna pop off. I gotta start putting the
We're
kid to bed.
we're leaving
I think it's
anyways.
about that
Oh, we're
time.
leaving anyways. Okay. Well, then I'll leave with the rest of you.
All right.
Yay, everybody gets to leave together. Get to your car safe, everybody.
Bye.
Is that the official sign off? Get your car safe.
That might not be bad. We'll work on it.
We'll workshop it.
Oh
right.
man. Have a good night, guys.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
See you guys. I do need to go get dinner. I'm hungry.
I haven't eaten either. I clicked
get some
end
dinner.
and it didn't end.
It's because I haven't left yet. I'll catch you on the flippy flop.